Alright, so we are back at SP to finish up the tune. We fixed a little issue that we had where we weren't making boost. The car ran really well when we were here earlier in the week, but it wasn't producing boost under load. Figured out the problem, got that fixed, and we are back on the dyno, and Kristian is hoping to finish it up and make some power pulls today. Alright, so I always say that if your tuner takes like 2 hours and they're done, they're probably not doing a very good job. You've been on the dyno for how long now, Kristian?
Including the other day, maybe 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and then minus there's like strapping time and lunch.
Yeah, exactly. Lunch and having a boba. Yeah. So lots and lots of hours in. And he's showing me kind of like one of the things that he was doing. So do you want to kind of explain what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, so we're still on K-Pro for now. The thing about running on Honda K-Pro is it runs off the Honda factory tuning strategy, and it takes a long time to tune because I mean Honda's very thorough with their tunes. So if, like you think about a B series tuning, of course there's the low cam and the high cam, so there's different fuel maps for the low VTEC cam and the high VTEC cam on the camshaft. But with the K series, you actually have cam timing also, so your intake cam is moving 50 degrees to 0 degrees like constantly, depending on how you tune it. And what Honda does is they literally have a low and high map for every 10 degrees of cam timing. Alright, so part of going through the various degrees and then tuning those, the next step after that is dynoing the full power runs after you corrected all your AFs and stuff. So I just usually go in. The blue line actually is, so like I just kind of guesstimated a good cam timing profile, which like what I'm kind of used to with turbo cars, just very similar to like kind of like a GTR. So blue line's what I did there. Just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna put this cam timing map I have in my head that I know will be fine. Then I start going in, and I lock the cam to 0. And you can see the green line, it's the cam locked to 0. So it's obviously that the camshaft does not like being at 0 degrees advanced, you know? Yeah. A lot of times on like GTRs, they like being 0 degrees advanced at the very, very top, which most turbo cars I believe they do. But this one seems to like it a little bit more.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You can see like how big of a difference the power level is here.
Yeah.
Massive in the mid-range, which is normal, but I see what you're saying. Up top, it's like really only the last.
Big, right? Yeah. And then I'll skip to, I don't want to do all of them because this computer's slow, but I'll skip to like 30 degrees. So this is 30 degree lock, where you can see everything's brought up a lot. See,
green
like,
is 30 degree lock again.
So now it's green 30 degree lock.
And it brought everything back up.
Brought all this low end up, right? You can see like it brings it up, and like it helps a lot to have that. You know, especially it helps build the boost and stuff too, advancing that intake cam before the boost is built. Because it's almost like you're just letting it breathe. It's like you're opening the mouth more, you know, before the turbo actually starts spitting in the engine. And then I compared that, so we're gonna change the blue one now. And I compared that to locking it at 50 degrees. And so you can see locking it at 50 degrees actually brought the top end even more, and that's like a lot, you know? Like most people would be like, oh man, you're bringing the intake cam all the way to 50. I mean, OEM does do that and stuff, and that's like the maximum limit, so I never want to bring it all the way to 50. So I kind of find like an area in between. I compare it to 40, I'm like, okay, at 40 and 50 degrees, you're not making that much more power that you're gonna wanna, you know, you don't wanna max your cam out. So I set it down to like 38-ish, so you kind of be on the safe side, because you know, the power gain there is like very negligible.
And are any of these the 38?
38 is basically what my timing is now, the red one.
The red one?
So
okay,
the red line now is my app optimized cam timing profile.
Nice.
And you can see at 50, and then let's bring back the, let's compare the green one and the 10. Like once the boost kicks in, that's when you want to start kind of bleeding off the power, or bleeding off the cam timing, because the 50, of course, is going to really advance that beginning stair area of it. But as it gets to the top, it doesn't want to stay at 50. You can see the 50 actually loses power up top, because you're advanced so far and you're spitting. It's almost like your intake is like kind of too early now, you know, because of the speed of the air.
It's not giving the air enough time to stay in the combustion chamber.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's just
in and out as fast.
It's the wrong timing, you know. So at a certain point, you want to kind of blend it. You look at different parts of the map, parts of the dyno graph, and you want to just kind of pick the best areas where it makes the most power without being too dangerous. Like you never want to put it at 50. It's just, you don't want to max it out, you know?
I see. Yeah, and you can see a big difference in the low end. You can see the top end really.
Difference. So it, you know, the 50 is good down here, but at the top, you can see that the 10 degrees is actually better.
I see.
Than the 50.
That's interesting.
So that brings us to this red line, which is like, that's the final optimized power graph. I'm making the most out of, you know, all the cam timing stuff like that.
I see. So that's like blending them all together. That is just all of them, like where it's changing through the rev range.
And then at the end, it looks like this. You know, like picking and choosing where I want it to be, and then just making sure everything's kind of like nice and smooth, and the transition's really good. You know.
Nice.
So, yeah, cam timing. But now that the cam timing is like nice and optimized, for the most part, making any other changes and stuff, you're not really going to need to touch this that much anymore.
Badass.
It takes a long time to do, but that's what makes, you know, you want to make the most out of everything.
Yeah.
Especially now that you've lost the lower VTEC load. Technically, just kind of getting off the line and stuff, it might struggle a little bit just because that cam is so big.
Yeah, like getting off the line is going to suck, but once it's going, it'll be.
Yeah, exactly.
And part of the reason, one of the things that makes this car very quick in areas that are low traction, low traction situations, like low speed corners, mid speed corners, this thing does really well. And part of that is because of the drivability in the tune, and that's where this really comes in, because up top, most tuners are going to do a good job and make it look just about the same. But in the mid range, where you're like partial throttle, low throttle, with a car, it needs to be very easy to drive, and you're modulating the throttle, that's where all of this time basically pays off. All right, so we're all done for the night. Everything went really well. Thank you so much to Dilly. He kind of makes all this happen. He is the person that runs SP. So thank you, Dill.
You're welcome.
That's an amazing place. Kristian, what do you think? How did it go?
Really well.
Happy?
Oh yeah.
I'm happy.
It's a good setup. I think this is a good setup.
Cool.
Yeah, it feels strong.
Nice. Yeah. So bigger turbo next time, some different management, and some track testing tomorrow. Thanks, Dill.
No problem. Thank you for being such a sweet guy.